This is Couch Potatoes, the food TV podcast where we will inevitably quit at the end and become architects, spoiler alert. Father Sal is with us today. How you doing today, bud?
Great, man. I'm excited for this conversation.
I am too. It's kind of crazy. Last year we spent so much time talking about the bear on our companion podcast, Let It Rip, and this year we've basically not talked about it at all. Be honest. Have you missed talking about the bear?
Well, part of the reason we didn't talk about it so much this year is because last season was so rough, and it wasn't even the worst season, that I think we kind of like gave up. But I will say, while watching this season, I was like, oh, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Look, it is over. Let me ask an emotional question first. How sad do you feel on a scale from Carmy in general to Carmy locked in the walk-in at the end of season 2?
So Carmy locked in the fridge at the end of season 2 is like, I'm so sad.
Yeah,
I'm fucked up.
You're like, you're about to give up on life.
Yeah. No, I don't feel that sad about the show ending. I do have a lot of feelings about the show as a whole, which kind of lean towards Carmy and Fridge. Like, the way I feel about the show is I'm kind of freaking out in a fridge. Like, as a whole, as a total product. It's a frustrating. This is possibly the single most frustrating television show I've ever seen.
I agree.
And I don't know, I don't have to go into it now, but like, I think we'll dive into why. But that's where I'm at. How about you?
I think I feel similarly. And, you know, it's kind of, I don't know why, but I've been getting really emotional watching TV recently. Well, that's a lie.
Literally your entire life, dude.
I was going to say.
Probably cry at Real Housewives.
Yeah, bro. Actually, though, depends on, some housewives have very emotional stories. No, but for example, last night I finished Beef season 2. Did you watch it?
No, and I loved season 1. I don't know why. I've heard season 2. When it came out, it had like mixed reviews, and then I've heard more people say like, oh, it's one of the best shows of the year. What did you think?
I think better than season 1.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. I will tune in. I don't know why. I feel like the reception to that show was kind of mixed at the time, and then now like in the mid, like all the mid-year podcasts, like best movies of the year, best shows of the year are coming out, and Beef is like top 3, top 5 on people's lists. So I'm like, oh shoot, maybe I have to go back.
I think it's an expectations thing. Also, like the first season, I feel was extremely accessible. Like every average Joe could have like watched it and enjoyed it. But for us highbrow folk, we need a little bit more to dig into. And let's just say the performances in this one: Carey Mulligan, Oscar Isaac. Isaac, my God, what a sexy dude! You know who he looks like? He looks like our mutual friend Donnie. I think.
I see it. Yeah. The internet's boyfriend, Oscar Isaac, or at least he used to be. I feel like he's fallen off a bit. Yeah, he kind of disappeared for a while, and I guess this is sort of his return. We should probably talk about the show we're actually here to talk about. But
I know, I'm delaying it. But no, I brought Beef up because at the end of it, I literally wept because the themes were basically about spending your life with someone you love and then, you know, feeling like it goes by really fast and looking back on it and wondering where did the time go? And that's how I felt watching The Bear. I was like, oh my God, it's been 5 years of this. What has really happened? Yet so much has happened. Yet I feel like we wasted the time. Yet I also feel like worthwhile things happened and I'm happy where things end up. So like it was all these mixed bag of emotions at the end of it. So before we get into all that, season 5, you are famously the Bear like historian. Can you give listeners a bit of a recap of how the season went?
I will. I will say I was a Bear historian for seasons 1 and 2 heading into 3. After 3 and 4, I was like, I don't want to study this history anymore. But season 5 I just watched, and it's an easy one to explain. The entirety of season 5 takes place the day after the finale of season 4, when Carmy announces that he's going to leave the Bear, that he's quitting the restaurant for his own essentially mental health and happiness. And they made the choice to essentially, it wasn't like pit style hour by hour, but basically go through the next day, a chaotic service, and tell the story of like they resolve after feels like 2 seasons of kind of interminable, like, you know, just same conversations over and over. They like kind of got right to the point. They're like, we end on this point and we're gonna get through it in a day, and we're gonna tell you all where folks leave off.
Yeah, when we first talked about this on the LA Food Podcast, you had said first 2 episodes, you weren't so sure. Then all of a sudden, you were all the way back in. How did it leave you feeling by the time you were done with it?
Yes, it was like the first 2-3 episodes. I was like, come, more of this, man. You serious? And then I think it was only 8 episodes total. Episodes 4 through 8 were like a pretty steady build where I'm like, oh, they still have a little magic in them. They know season 1 and season 2. They can still do it, which is supremely frustrating. So frustrating that it was there all along. Like I thought they'd lost it. Like they captured, lightning in a bottle for a season or two, but ultimately, like, I don't know, for whatever reason, too much pressure, there's so much attention on the show, all these actors and cameos getting stuffed in. I was like, I think they just lost it. I think they just lost the when you like become aware, when you're like in a flow state and then you like become aware of yourself and then you just like lose it. I was like, they got the yips. Markel Fultz, but they forgot how to shoot. And,
wow, Markel Fultz, that's generous. We're like Ben Simmons.
Literally, no, because Markel could shoot. Ben never shot. This is the clear difference. So literally, it's as if Markel Fultz, episodes 5, 6, 7, 8, learned how to shoot again. And I'm like, my God, this is like, he still had it. So that was my sort of emotional arc with the show. There were still flaws. There were still bigger flaws than I think we saw in either season 1 or season 2 in this season. It had a little bit of the season 3, 4 stink and cringe on it in places, but overall, it was really made me very happy that some of the storytelling kind of found its groove again.
So one thing we kept talking about in the Let It Rip podcast was that it was very clear, and it felt so painfully clear that like the show had been kind of unnecessarily extended. And I think this season further proves that, because if you really boil down what happened, this season could have been a single episode. Like actually, like everything.
No. I wouldn't go that far. It could have been 4 episodes maybe.
No, there's a way where this is a 2-hour season finale, like or an hour and a half season finale, which is not uncommon actually in a lot of shows to go long on the season finale. Now the thing is, I'm glad that we got this season the way it did. Because I think the thing of going episode by episode where it's all on the same night was super compelling, and a way in which I actually wanted to spend time with these characters. Like, one thing they've done so much on this show is let shit breathe to the point where it's like actually suffocating. It's like it's breathing so much.
Suffocating in oxygen.
Yeah. It's like, can't you get like oxygen poisoning where it's like too much oxygen?
I think so.
I think that's pretty much what they did to us with this show. This one, it felt like breathing in the right way. Like, I wanted to live inside one night at the Bear. Like, if that's one thing I wanted to do, that's one thing I would have wanted to do. And the fact that they allowed us to do that via the season. Okay, I kind of have this trade-off in my head, right? And I want to know what you think about this. If the trade-off is we can condense the Bear to 3 really good seasons, with this being like a 90-minute finale, or you have the same arc, 5 seasons, but this 5th season stays the same, this like episode by episode, same night approach, which one would you choose?
3 seasons. This was a 3-season story, probably. Like, in the end. And by the way, I feel like we should be a little bit more specific about the story arcs that took place here. Presumably the listeners, anyone who's listening to this has kind of watched the show, but to get more in detail, following Carmi's announcement, he leaves the restaurant. Carmi and Sid and Richie are kind of trying to figure out, what leadership means in the restaurant, right? And like reckon with Carmi's decision. There's a lot of tension between Sydney and Carmi in terms of, who's really captain and taking charge, and that handoff happening. That's sort of the core idea. And Richie's also, elevation into, co-owner or whatever, and that role. In the meantime, a bunch of other stuff is happening to occupy the 12 other characters they introduced. There's there's a storm, like there's a leak in the restaurant that the facts have to deal with. There's some stuff about air rights. There's all this. There's all Uncle Jimmy and a handful of folks are dealing with that. There's
is his name Jimmy?
I thought it was Jimmy Cicero.
I think you're probably right. I just never think of him as a Jimmy. I just think of him as Unc.
Carmi's uncle is trying to figure out essentially the financial side. A handful of the dudes they brought in season 3 to run the sandwich window are trying to figure out the sandwich side. Ibra spends the entire season essentially rehearsing a pitch for Carmi to franchise the sandwich making operation for the Bear, only for the payoff to be that he doesn't get to do the pitch. There were a couple real dud storylines happening around the core idea and core story of the season, which was, this transition point where Carmi goes next, how Sid takes over, Sid trying to step into the, the pressure cooker of the captain's seat, and so on and so forth.
Those dud storylines are what make me think this was originally meant to be one episode, like one long episode.
As I think about it, I see the 2-hour pitch version of it. I see that, like the movie version. So,
the choice that Storer ultimately makes to go the pit route, condense it all into one evening, do you think it was good or too derivative? Like, ultimately did it work for you?
Not derivative at all. I think just because the pit did it doesn't mean like 24 did it first, right? Where we all
Yeah, but the fact that the pit did it pretty recently, it's a little sus.
No. I don't think so at all. It was a great decision. It's a great decision because, as we said, where the show in my mind went wrong in a bunch of ways was that they basically stopped moving the ball forward on the development of their core characters because I don't even know why really, but like, and they replaced that sort of forward momentum that had been so propulsive in season 1 and 2 with just stuffing new characters. Everyone we met in Ever, all like service staff, the expediter, all of them, they all come in. Will Poulter is here from, like, everyone has to come into the show and they just like stuff it with other people instead of and then like basically put, Carmy and Sydney and even Richie to an extent, like, on ice for like a season and a half, it felt like. And so while they still had to deal with, as we mentioned, all those other characters by basically just giving them like dead end storylines, making it a 1-day season forced them to be propulsive with everyone else, right? I think it just forced them to move everyone else forward a little bit. So a really good choice, and I think one of the reasons why I really enjoyed the season.
Yeah, because it felt like for the first time in a long time, shit was happening, to put it nicely. So looking back at specific moments, any moments that really worked for you?
And this is not even specific because we just saw it more through the season, but hey, miracle of miracles. It's kind of freaking fun in the restaurant show to watch the chef characters cook food. That's actually pretty fun. They did that quite a lot in season 1 and 2, and then they kind of just stopped showing us. They had like an episode here and there. Everyone was just like talking about in the same way, in the same conversations. Literally, just the moments of like creativity and that moment where Carmy shows off his genius trying to, I think, what was he? Did he make like Parmesan cheese or something? I can't remember, like Parmesan crumble. I can't remember what he made. He does like some genius food shit to save the day.
Lamb tonado?
No. He does a tonado, right? Which is really cool, right? It's like, oh my God, genius stuff. But there's that scene, I think in the last episode,
where he has to like save the dessert.
Yeah, he saves the dessert. He like makes something from scratch.
Yeah, and that was cool. The lamb tonado, I was actually like, this is a cop out. And maybe it's just because I'm Italian. Just because I'm Italian, sure. Like tonato's such an obvious dish to me. But like the moment he looked at the tuna, I was like, he's going to make a fucking tonado.
Yeah. I mean, and watching Richie do service, right? Like I said, like we get to spend a night at the Bear, right? And I should mention, one of the propelling ideas in terms of the service in the restaurant is that they think a Michelin judge is coming in, right? So it's not just like it's the worst day of service ever, right? The restaurant's falling apart, hole in the ceiling, storm outside. The storm is causing all this back. I really loved the logistical details of like, I loved it too. Oh shit, people are coming late. That means we're going to not be able to turn tables in time. That means we have to do this and this. And watching everyone's problem solve in real time. That was fun. That's like fun. The action of the show. And the show is at its best when it's showing characters do competent things and like problem solve and relate to each other, in doing something, in delivering on this really challenging service, rather than just going like, am I right? I feel like every conversation like that for like 2 seasons was like, sigh, restaurants, am I right? And and that's boring. That just gets boring.
Yeah. No, they did a really good job this season of showcasing, super logistical problems. Like, for example, even the whole reservation situation with them seeming like they didn't have enough people, so then they overbooked, and then Richie not being able to actually cancel any reservations.
Yeah, which I loved. I love that.
So good. Good. A, it was like perfect for his character, but B, the way that they step up to like actually, solve for that problem. That was that thing where you're like watching it and it's compelling, and you're also like, fuck, I wish I was at this restaurant. And like, I don't actually think at any other point in this show I have felt like I wish I was at this restaurant.
No,
like,
I did the finale of season 2, family meal, when they like, again, another season, by the way, the best season of the show, season 2, with a similar idea, right? What made season 2 work so well? In part,
open the restaurant.
3 months. 6 months is too long. 3 months, we're opening a restaurant. We have a mission. We're doing something together. And then we are, evolving, changing, conversing in the context of said mission. And instead of a 3-month timeline in the season, it's 1 day, 1 night. But that sort of time pressure and urgency, which is, by the way, a key theme of the show, every second counts, right? Like, really adds to the action, the flow.
Yeah. I actually like the moment where the clock is run out, and I forget who it is, looks at the clock and says to Sydney, like, yeah, but we're out of time. And Sydney just starts it again.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
I have a question. So one of the flaws I think in the last 3 seasons and which reared its head here as well is I have no understanding of what the financial situation is here. like what I don't understand what happened. I thought they had a countdown clock in season 4. Credit to them, right? Time urgency. There's a countdown clock. They have X number of days to, I forget what it is, be profitable or pay Jimmy back or something. I can't remember exactly what the thing was, but they were like, hey, I mean, Jimmy hits hard financial times, the uncle who's done the restaurant, and he's like, you basically have, 30 days or whatever it was. You have 30 in season 4. 30 days, clock starts now, it's counting down, and in 30 days, I think they have to be like self-sufficient or something.
I think I think it's like the burn rate of the restaurant means at that time they're going to be done. And so they need to turn it around from a profitability standpoint in order to keep things going.
Right. And so I was like, oh, the clock's out, they're done. But they have this one more day, I suppose, where they really don't have enough money. One of the cool, and again, problem-solving things is how they cut down ingredients, right? Don't have enough ingredients. I guess can't afford them. So they cut down. So I guess I was like, so I was a little confused about like what actually is happening here financially. And by the way, I still don't really understand it now that we ended the show. I don't know where they financially leave off entirely. But there's an interesting set of storytelling techniques they've used in their most successful seasons generally, when they're like, hey, there's this clear external pressure that's forcing us to act. And we saw that in this season.
Yeah, no, that totally worked. What about moments that didn't? I'll actually start you with one.
Yeah.
You know what really put me off? Richie's game. Richie has the weirdest game, dude. So Richie and the other server from Ever, they've been teasing this relationship or like this romance between them for, the last couple seasons at least. And finally, we start to see it blossom, and it happens in these really, to me, kind of weird hand touches. Like, if my boss touched me like that at work, he better be 1,000% sure I'm in, because otherwise I'm going straight to HR.
Richie is a charming guy. I think it worked out for. I didn't hate that. It was a little sappy or whatever at times, but. No, I kind of get it, but overall I was okay with that. For me, it was sort of in those first 2 episodes, we had a lot of really corny fact stuff. It's been a thing since season 3. The one thing that really stood out to me that made me roll my eyes, I think it was episode 2 maybe, or episode 1, I can't remember, is they agreed at the beginning of the season to not tell anyone that Carmi's leaving the restaurant until the end of the day of service. And then they're having an argument in an early episode, and Sid just goes, if you care, why are you quitting? And everyone's like, what? You're quitting? And I'm like, okay. I don't know. It was kind of contrived. It felt a little contrived for her. That was one of the sort of clunky, but look, they needed to reveal it somehow to folks. And it just felt like a little bit of a lazy way for Sid to be 1 second ago, agree, totally, we're not telling anyone. And then just blurt it out. Whatever.
Yeah, the contrived aspect, there's several contrived things, and some of them are like that, which just feels like you got to move the story forward and just do it whenever you can. Other ones are the Ted Lassification, and another Ted Lassification moment that came to mind is that all of a sudden Uncle Jimmy wants to fuck Dee Dee. Where did that come from?
But yeah, that was random. Yeah,
that was so random.
They really did not know what to do with Uncle Jimmy. By the way, I referred to the storyline with Ibra, who again he's nervously trying to pitch, planning to pitch Carmi on the restaurant franchising. Completely unnecessary. The whole tension, Carmi, it turns out he reads the pitch and he's like, yeah, great idea. Don't even need to pitch me. The Jimmy thing, they're like, oh my God, we can figure out some way from a financial windfall by selling the air rights above the bear. That's the thing. And they go on this wild goose chase all around Chicago, introduce yet another family member. Some whatever funny interactions I thought on the way.
At the government office, that was funny.
Yeah, exactly. Goes nowhere. It's completely irrelevant. Air rights completely never heard of it again, right? It's just so they just went on a wild goose chase for a bit. A couple characters just went on wild goose chases, and look, they were entertaining at times, but it's just interesting that they were hey, we don't really know what to do with you.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about season 5 on?
Well, in terms of overall reflections. I have a question. How does the bear feel about restaurants? How does it feel about it? Because I asked that because in season 1 and 2, and again, I'm also just could be dumb, right? I just am not seeing the very clear message. But in season 1, we see the chaos of the original beef, right? It's a mess. It has a lot of character, but it's a mess, literally from cleanliness to financially to the system and all that stuff. And that the whole arc of the first 2 seasons and what we learn in episodes like Forks, right, is one of the reasons why, frankly, like high-end, very competent kitchens are great and healthy is because they're calm, right? There was like a chaos versus calm sort of element happening, and I was like, oh, the idea is that when you do when you do this right, quote unquote, you can create calm for people. Mm-hmm. Then we get to the end of season 2, and it's like, and so there's like some value, right, in like a nice fine dining where people really care, and they care about service, right? When people like start caring about service instead of like, you know, emotional just baggage or whatever, like they can do greatness, they can be great. Then we have Carmy locked in the fridge, and Carmy spins out for a whole season 3, and the idea becomes, no, this world of restaurants is actually bad because of the trauma and pressure and ways it, like, you know, can break people, right?
Yeah.
Then it goes, like, by season 5, Carmy's growth is that he leaves the restaurant. He's like, this is traumatic and I can't do it. But Sydney and Richie do find their place there and their meaning. So the takeaway is, you know, Carmy just didn't like restaurants and he wanted to be artistic in different ways. At one point he was going to save the restaurant for his brother. By the way, not a single, not a single, but barely a mention of Mikey in the entire thing. And that was like the precipitating event of the show.
Well, Richie had several Mikey flashbacks.
That's true. It's true. And they had the episode Gary that was kind of like a standalone, almost like, you know, movie sort of thing before the season, which was really Mikey centric. But I don't know. It was I left a little bit confused about, like, you know, what's the philosophy and the feeling of the writers towards restaurants.
To me, it felt a little bit like a PSA. Like, restaurants are really, really hard. Like, no matter what the restaurant, whether it's the beef, whether it's a fine dining restaurant like the Bear, like, it never gets easier. And it felt almost like a heavy-handed PSA at times, showing that, like, even when things go really well at a restaurant, things aren't actually going that well. And and to use a phrase that they use again and again in season 1, it's a delicate ecosystem. And it was kind of used like in jest in season 1, but you kind of learned throughout all 5 seasons that it never changes. It's always a delicate ecosystem. I mean, what is more delicate than having to, like, ration the proteins for, like, that final meal, right? I think, and here, having heard interviews with Storer in the past, I feel like he is like a restaurant nerd, kind of like you and I are, and someone who deeply loves restaurants and knows people in restaurants. Obviously, his sister, Courtney Storer, worked in restaurants for a long time. I think he's someone with a deep respect for what happens in restaurants, and this felt like an earnest attempt to showcase to the everyday person how fucking difficult and heart-wrenching it is. And also that it's, I mean, honestly, like, it is a place where a lot of people go who have unresolved issues, like trauma and stuff.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, I'm with it. You're smart. I'm sold. Also, it definitely worked as a PSA for me never showing up late to a restaurant again. Yeah. So the way being late screwed them over, I was like, I would be so ashamed showing up late.
Says the guy who's 15 minutes late to this recording. Guess screwing up my day doesn't matter, but screwing up the restaurants, it does. I'm just kidding. I love you. So overall, I think it's pretty safe to say, when we're ranking the seasons, I think I'm going to say, and I think we're going to agree, season 2 is number 1. Mm-hmm. Season 1 is number 2.
Yes.
Season 5 is probably number 3.
Yes, it is.
And then we go 3 and 4 were both dog shit. So
4 I think had more. 4 at least had one great episode where they did a service where they actually did have, spoiler alert, the Michelin judge, which attend, and that was the service which, you know, earned them the 2 stars that they're awarded at the end of the season. That was a good episode in season 4, and that episode alone will bump it above 3 for me. Because I can't remember a single good thing about 3.
I can't even. I knew from the moment that first episode of season 3 came down that I was like, this is going to be...
wait, I forgot. Season 1 of episode 3... Episode 1 of season 3 was really good. I forgot about that part. That was the last golden moment. That was awesome. That was a great episode.
It was like one of those meditations my wife puts on for sleep. It was literally so boring. But okay, let's talk about the ending before we move on to the superlatives, the fun game that we have waiting for us. Okay, you mentioned it. They get 2 stars. They answer the phone call from the Michelin inspector, and it seems like at first they're not going to get any stars. And then there's the surprise that they actually didn't get 1. They get 2. Look, this took me on the most fucked up emotional roller coaster journey of all time, because I was so thrilled that they didn't get a star, I was like, that's real. That's real. It's like you work your fucking tail off, you do all these things, you have this goal, and you don't get what you want. That's restaurants. And I was like, they got to find joy, they got to find meaning, regardless of like without that external validation. But then they go get 2 stars, and I'm like, this is fucking Ted Lasso.
Dude, it was a Ted Lasso moment again. And this is, again, one of the points where I was confused as to what the message is here. Like, oh no, pursuing stars and this relentless pursuit of perfection and external validation is toxic, right? That's like the thing that but no, it's great. They got 2 stars. That I think that was part of the, like, I think you're correct that it would have been more interesting. Look, I was happier for the character. I was like thrilled. I felt emotionally happy for like Sydney in that moment. Though it's also funny because at the time that they were awarded the stars, I have to go back and maybe rewatch that episode from season 4. Like, Carmy was running the restaurant like a tyrant at that time still, I think, or maybe he was easing up, right? It was like a little bit like he was chilling out a bit and allowed Richie to do like the surprise in that episode, which made it so magical for the Michelin judge. But it's like, oh, but that wasn't Sydney's kitchen. That was Carmy's kitchen. And okay, but they do it together. Like they're yin and yang or whatever, and Sydney is the bear and now is leading it and has to maintain the 2 stars. But that was also confusing for me, like as an idea, right? It wasn't like it was the healed kitchen did not get the 2 stars. The toxic one did. Yeah, and maybe there's like a lesson in that. Maybe that's the point as well.
That's interesting, actually. You think he's trying to say, like, don't even rely on the external validation because the external validation rewards toxicity?
No, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't think so. That'd be I think too complex. But so that's the end of the story for the bear, the restaurant.
Yeah.
Carmy is, sort of our main character, kind of. Yeah.
No, he is. I mean, ostensibly he is, right?
Ostensibly. They kind of, like, We'll get into the superlatives and we'll talk about it more, but really kind of strange main character, overall, the way they treated him, I think. How long do you think Carmy is an architect intern? Because I'm going to give you my take. He's back at the Bear tomorrow. He's Sydney's, I don't know, CDC or something.
Yeah. So again, that makes sense in the context that The Bear is not a show about restaurants, that The Bear is a show about grief, especially if the overarching journey that we're meant to follow as viewers is Carmy's grief journey from season 1 to season 5. Like, him walking away from The Bear feels in some ways like acceptance. It feels like he's not trying to keep this thing alive, keep this memory of Mikey alive. He's okay and at peace walking away from it and taking care of what he needs. And that is to become an architect, apparently. So,
by the way, it takes like 8 years of school, bro. It's like really hard to become an architect.
And he's not. How old is Carmy? Do we know?
I think he must be late 20s or early 30s at this point. And by the way, you just, I think, kind of nailed it, right? In terms of what I would accept as a emotional arc for Carmy, which is that he went to restaurants out of hatred, right? And this season, I'm like, okay, fuck you, watch this to Mikey. I'm going to go work in the best restaurants in the world. And then when Mikey dies, when Carmy goes back to the same tool, the tool of essentially hatred, approve it, fuck you, I can do this better. And I see the logic. Probably, maybe it's obvious. I just got like bamboozled by like seasons 3 and 4 and like kind of lost track of what we were doing. But him realizing that his actual emotional, resolution here is leaving the place of hate, toxicity, running away, right, emotionally is the way to go. The idea that like story follows, I'm not sure that emotional journey was told particularly clearly over the 5 seasons.
I would have liked it better if I didn't like that he had an alternate career in mind. Like that just felt too weird and easy. I would have actually liked a little bit of ambiguity where he's like, I don't know, but I know it's not this. And then I'm just going to fuck off to like South America and do some ayahuasca or something. Like that would have actually been, to me, even better, because this just felt like, bro, have you just been like secretly reading Architect's Digest in like the dark by yourself?
They seed it because he's a brilliant drawer, right? He's a brilliant artist, and he can sketch all this stuff and it looks beautiful. And they seed that part, and they also have that moment in a random episode in season, I think 4, where he just goes to a Frank Lloyd Wright house, I think, and just looks around and smiles. He's like, I love this house. And the whole thing is just like, quiet. Do you remember that? He just like goes to the house, just like smiles, walking around, it's silent.
Made no sense.
And, by the way, wasn't like that cool of a house to me. not to I'm a idiot. I'm ignorant on architecture, but I'm not like this is the fucking house that's going to blow my mind. I guess it was for him.
Yeah.
But that they like kind of seeded those things. I wasn't shocked by that particularly, but it was kind of random. What I think would have tracked more for me over the 5 seasons is that he says the restaurant's not for me. I'm leaving. I'm going to go to Claire, who
exactly.
died, is gone. Did not appear a single time in the season, which she referenced at the very end. At the very end of the montage. Okay, yeah. So it would make. I would have found it more satisfying if we actually saw the resolution of their relationship and Carmy picking her over the restaurant, which is exactly the opposite of the decision he makes at the end of season 2 and into season 3. I'm picking the restaurant over her. I'm a psycho.
Yeah.
I can't cut everything out of my life. And the decision becomes, in fact, no, I'm not a psycho. I'm letting this go and I'm opening my heart and my life to other things that matter. And Claire, I thought, was the symbolism, is what symbolized that meaning beyond restaurants for the most part.
I'm actually okay that they didn't do the Claire thing, because another part of like Carmy's issue is that he always feels like he's got to be like taking care of other people. Like he's got to put the family on his back, and it feels like it's almost like a codependency with others that drives him to do that. So for him to almost like transfer that codependency to another human being would have, in my mind, like not been the ideal resolution. Again, ayahuasca by himself, South America, that's how your boy would have written it.
By the way, okay, we have to move on to superlatives, but what you just described, I know this is, again, probably an obvious point, but toxically serving others while overindulging in your addiction is exactly what Carmy learns from his mother, the alcoholic who cooked, was it Christmas? Yeah, Christmas dinner, right? And they're like, I'm doing everything. I do everything for everybody. When really she's just kind of making everyone's life worse. Exactly what Carmy did in season 3. Oh, shit, dude. That's damn, maybe it's an awesome show all the way through. Maybe I'm just wrong.
I think it's an awesome show all the way through. It was an unnecessarily long show all the way through.
Yeah.
Again, if this was 3 tight seasons, best show of all time.
Yeah. 100% agree.
Last question before we move to superlatives. Do you think this show's legacy is ultimately a good thing for restaurants like fictionalized content, or a bad thing because like nobody will ever be able to live up to it, or because it kind of petered out in the end, nobody wants to do it again?
No. I think unequivocally a good thing. Like the attention, and like over the last 26 years or whatever, chefs and restaurants have taken more and more of the imagination of the public. Most of that though has been through, I think, reality and celebrity chefs, right? Like IRL chefs, I mean. And this is probably the most interesting fictional, I shouldn't say interesting. I mean, it's the food storytelling and restaurant storytelling kind of experience that captured the broadest imagination, the most mainstream attention, right? Ratatouille, I don't think quite counts. But so I think that's unequivocally good. And there will, I think, be probably more opportunities for shows set in restaurants, possibly. I don't know exactly. I'm sure they're going to be like mimics and stuff like that. I think good. I'm going to go good.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right, let's move on to superlatives, because this is pretty much the Bears graduation. So it's only right we do what every good graduation yearbook does and give this show its superlatives. So let's start with this one. Biggest winner, who you got?
I am going to change my answer in real time. Okay, so we're saying biggest winner, but it could, I mean, no rules. Could be a character, could be an actor, could be a concept.
Yeah.
I initially wrote down Evan Moss Backrack as Richie, who I think was, you know, the heart of the show and you know, the one of the most, and like all of them, all the stars, or the leading 3, I should say, Richie, Evan Moss Backrack, Iowa Debris, and Jeremy Allen White, all like got huge career boosts from this. I think the single most beneficial and biggest winner though is Iowa Debris. Mm-hmm. I think she was the one who was like, she'd done a lot of like, I think, funny sort of sketch comedy stuff and stand up, but this kind of put her on the map in a different way, both in terms of her acting and her character and also her celebrity and her charm, which I think has captured a lot of people and then launched her, you know, up into a different stratosphere in a way. I would name her like the biggest winner.
It's a good answer, but the correct answer is people who started selling Yes Chef merch on Etsy. That's the biggest winner of all of this.
You're right. You are 100% correct.
All right, biggest loser. I'll start with this one, okay?
Yeah.
Any chef who was putting potato chips on omelets before the show. Because brilliant idea, but if you do it now, everybody's going to be like, this fucking guy copying the Bear.
Watch one episode, the Bear starts throwing potato chips on shit. Wow. Yeah, no, I like that answer. Mine is going to be a weird one, but I'm going to make the argument for it. I just mentioned how his career has benefited greatly from this, and it certainly has in terms of some of the movies he's done and stuff like that. In some ways, I think Jeremy Allen White is the biggest loser. That makes no sense. He won a Golden Globe and Emmys and all that. But I think him both as an actor and a character was like captured the imagination in season 1, and then kind of for the most part just he felt static in a way where he felt flat to me by the end. Even though we just kind of talked through what the emotional, story of him might be, it just was, and he was great throughout, but he became so repetitive to me and so kind of unclear at times that it's a weird, because he was so high at season 1, I feel like by the end he's weirdly the biggest loser.
I actually had a different award for Jeremy Allen White, but it's in the same vein, and I'm going to fast forward, but it's the It's All Downhill From Here award, and the reason is I think he's peaked.
Why do we have this award? This is a mean award.
I know it is, but it's true. I just think, here's why. It's not even what you said. I think there's still a universe in which, his performance over the 5 seasons carries him into an incredible career. It's the fact that the swings he took while he was at this high have been huge flops. Like that Wrecking Machine movie, the Bruce Springsteen movie, massive flop.
Was it a flop? I thought.
Yeah, dude. Bruce Springsteen, I'm pretty sure was a flop, which actually, by all accounts, he did good, and he nailed the Bruce Springsteen voice. But
right.
I think you get that tag of big budget flop. I'm not sure where you go from there. So to me, I don't know. I wish him all the best, but I think Jeremy Allen White may have missed his opportunity. Fast forward to him winning the Oscar next year.
I think he's still in play. I want to see him do something different. He kind of feels like he's been playing this tortured artist Carmy guy for a while, and he was in a Shameless, I think it was called before. That's the show, and he was a little bit more dynamic there. But really, then he was also a tortured genius. I think I did not watch the show, but based on clips I've seen on YouTube, that seems to be the idea. I want to see some other flavors, so to speak, right? To use a food-based term, right? Different flavors of Jeremy Allen White. I'm curious.
Very apropos. All right, next one. Biggest fumble.
For me, the biggest fumble in the show was the Joel McHale character and its resolution. Very specific, but
good answer.
This was part of the reason why I think I really struggled with the Carmen character. They had seeded this relationship he had with a chef in New York who, it was really funny. We talked about this in the past, Carmi's experience in restaurants was every chef is amazing and nice. Thomas Keller, he's your dad now, right? Rene Redzepi, he's chilling. No
Teddy
forks,
bear.
no punches, no poking, right? Olivia Colman, amazing, gentle, firm mentor who showed him. And then he met one guy who ruined his life in restaurants because he was so abusive and shitty to him. And we watch from the very first episode, we see this guy over and over. And this guy, they illustrated this is the guy who's in his head. They literally, in the season 2 finale, Carmy hallucinates him sitting in their restaurant for the friends and family dinner. And then the big build up to season 3 was meeting him and Carmy finally confronting this guy, and the guy goes, yeah, so what, I don't give a shit. Well, so the idea was and again, this part of the confusion I have with the rest, he goes, I made you great, why are you complaining? And then I didn't really understand what Carmy totally took away from that, because he didn't really change his behavior, it seemed significantly, through the next season 4. But that it felt really flat to me. It was a whole lot of build up to a little bit of a what's the term?
Yeah, payoff.
Yeah, no, it's something else, but I forget what it's called.
Ejaculation?
No, what?
No. Hey, I'm just picking up what you're putting down here, buddy. I actually thought that moment where, I look, in the moment, I didn't like it, but knowing what Carmy's kind of tragic flaws are, I actually think it's an okay outcome with the Joel McHale character, because again, Jeremy, he puts so much of his shit on other people and blames it on other people. I think that moment was supposed to be him realizing, fuck, this is actually an issue I got to deal with myself. It's not nobody's going to deal with this for me. I can't blame this person for it. And I think that underwhelmed. I agree. Maybe it could have done it in a bit more cinematic way, but especially because of all the fucking buildup. But that said, I get it from a character perspective.
It does make more sense in retrospect. You're right. Yeah. In the moment, it felt really bad. I was like, this is a fumble. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree. My biggest fumble, I have to give it to Chris Storer. It's gonna be mean. It's gonna be mean. But here's why. It's because I think a tighter version of this show could legitimately have been in the conversation with the Mad Men's, the Breaking Bads, maybe not quite the Wires and the Sopranos of the world, but these all-time shows. And I think the fact that now it's had a bit of a fall from grace, I think it just doesn't rise to that level anymore. It's maybe a Better Call Saul, if that, even though I think Better Call Saul is actually better than Breaking Bad.
No, it is.
So,
Yeah.
So maybe not that. I don't even know what level of show in the pantheon I would put it at this point, but I think because of the way it's played out, it's no longer at that tier.
Yeah, that is a fumble. I think that's probably the right answer. Where it was like, holy shit, you just made the best season of television like we can remember seeing at the end of season 2, and then it's like 2 years of, and then it ends on a high note. To be fair, but yeah, didn't quite. He didn't really turn into like a Damon Lindelof level figure to me, right? Which he could have. It's like, oh my god, this guy's a fucking. He's the guy.
Yeah.
He was, and then lost it a little bit.
Okay, most improved player. Who you got?
Tina. Easy answer. I'm sticking with characters mainly here. As you can see, characters and actors. I like that you went with concept, but her arc, again, maybe she's literally the most improved, right? She's a natural talent. She grows. Wait, what am I talking about? Marcus is the most improved. Literally the most improved.
Well,
right?
yeah, he wins the most improved award, so
yeah, that's right. He's the most improved player.
Yeah, but where did they start from is the question.
Well, Marcus at the beginning was like barely making good cake, and at the end he's like, top, best new chef in America. I think that is the most improved player award for sure.
Yeah. I was gonna give it to Io Adebiri as an actress because I think, like as you said, she was like basically just a comedy person before, and even her early part in or roles in The Bear, it was the season 1. Look at like when you watch it back. It's really funny. Like, it's a funny show.
Yeah, it's really funny.
She is kind of the straight person, the straight man in a lot of the scenes, but it's very much in a comedic way. And just the range that she's shown the entire time as an actor is like super impressive. So I'm giving it to Io. This is maybe my favorite one, and you added this, so congrats. LA Food Pod Bear Doppelgangers, aka Who are we in the show, and we get to choose it for each other's. Can I go first?
Yes, please.
I think you're Pete.
I did not see that coming, and you're 100% right. I totally get it.
Do you want to hear my reasoning?
Yes, please.
So
Pete being Sugar's husband and the punching bag of the family for the majority of the show.
Yeah. So first of all, in like my world, like obviously we don't work together. You are in the pod universe, very much a piece of the pod universe, but you kind of just like pop in. Not the pod universe. It's more so like the overall Acquired Taste LA Countdown universe. You pop in when you want to. When you're invited. You're not like in there like every day in the kitchen like making the sauces and stuff. You come in and it's always a lot of people are happy to see you, but sometimes not everybody's super happy to see you. And so there's that. Second of all, you have this like very goofy, affable like persona, but you're actually low-key very competent in a way that people wouldn't realize. Like Pete has a real ass career and they go to him with like actual questions about like laws and shit, right? So you're kind of the same way. Like you wouldn't think it looking at you, but you're actually a very competent individual.
I like all the reasoning, and the one I would add, which feels very true to me personally, generally, is I kind of feel like the guy where when everyone else is like having problems and like in emotional distress, I'm like, what's going on, guys?
That's true.
I'm fine. It's like completely, it's just a sunny day in my head. Just never really. Never really that like distressed. I'll say
it's actually true. And the final one, you're an excellent husband. So
very nice.
Yeah,
we'll see if Emily agrees. I bet she's like pissed and complimented me. That was such a good answer. I fear my answer for you is boring, but I do think it's correct, and not completely. It doesn't capture me as well as I think your Pete call might capture the way I feel. But at the end of the day, you're fucking Carmi. You are. And you're not as emo, obviously. But you are as kind of tortured, bro. You are the, I gotta do it myself. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm a psycho. I'm gonna go all out, all the way. No, I don't need help. That's kind of you, bro. I haven't really seen you have a meltdown in the fridge, but like, oh my god, I wouldn't put it past you, right?
I've had many meltdowns in the fridge. Like figuratively speaking.
And by the way, dude, I see you as the main character a lot. You're the main character of the pod universe, right? You are our chef. Wait, what's the highest one? You're our head chef. You are chef, right? So you're the head of the program. You kill yourself to like get it right. You're a perfectionist also. And it's a lot. You're not emo, right? You are capable of having a relationship barely. But like, unfortunately, I really thought about this. I think as I look across the board, the most truths kind of line up with Carmi. How do you feel about that?
I thought you for sure were going to say Mark's his roommate.
The goofy, weird roommate who kind of says, by the way, I once saw that guy at the gym and he kind of has the same exact vibe in real life.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it. I'll be the karma to your P any day. This one's easy. I think I'm gonna have a unanimous answer on this one. Worst cameo. Do you want to say it on three?
One,
One, two,
two,
three.
three. John Cena.
John Cena. What the fuck? I mean,
Yeah.
like literally that, and just the whole concept of what he was there to do with the haunt, I think goes down as like the single biggest dud of the entire bear, probably.
It's when I thought it was over. I was like, this is over. You know how they say like jump the shark? This should be like, you know,
They did a haunt.
they did a Cena. They did a Cena haunt. They haunted Cena or whatever. Like that's that. It was rough. I see where they were trying to go with it. I think I can see how his affect and personality and charisma matched some of the vibes of like the facts theoretically. Just my God.
I love John Cena. Did you see the movie he just made with Eric Andre?
No.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Beautiful movie. I mean, it's really dumb, but like
Funny
I thought
guy.
super funny. Yeah.
Funny dude.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I enjoy John Cena's acting generally, but yeah, that one just did not work. How about best cameo?
This is hard because the best cameos in the show happened in season 2, and all the people they cameoed with became full-time characters later, so they were no longer cameos, right? The two I had in the running were Olivia Colman and Will Poulter, right? And I know, again, like I think that counts as cameo. I don't understand cameo as like, like a Thomas Keller's coming in, but that's a cameo, right? Like, and I would probably give it to Olivia Colman. Like when she showed up at the end of Forks, it just kind of hit really hard. Poulter was great too and very charming. Both of those characters got, you know, additional screen time later. I think Poulter's a little bit to his detriment. By the way, Poulter and Io and Sydney were supposed they seeded a romantic arc for them at one point, and they just also abandoned that, probably for the best. But I'll go Coleman. I'll go Coleman season 2 specifically.
I'm gonna go Kate Berland. Do you remember Kate Berland's cameo?
Yeah, that's right. Season 3, I believe. Her monologue.
Season 3. That monologue in the like Grief Anonymous, whatever it's called.
It's Al-Anon, I think.
Al-Anon, yeah. Al-Anon, right. Her monologue was just so good, and again, range from an actor that we don't expect that from. So really enjoyed that. How about actor most likely to switch careers and become an actual chef, excluding Matty Matheson?
So I didn't like this superlative. It doesn't make sense to me. From what I understand, Io Adibri is actually learned to be a pretty good chef, like or cook during the show.
Like a cook, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to change this question from actor most likely to switch careers to actor. Well, I guess like, yeah.
Wait. Let's put actor you'd most want to cook you a meal.
Ooh, okay. You know what? Even though I said Io, I just think that Tina can cook. I need to look up her actor's name. Tina.
Liza Colon Zayas.
Yes. She has the energy. She has the vibe.
I like that answer. I'm going to say Will Poulter, because actually I've heard interviews with him where he's like a legit foodie, and I think to like study for this role he studied staged under Chef Dave Barron, so I think he probably picked up a couple of tricks.
I think Jeremy Allen White might have too. You skipped the superlative for most valuable real life chef in the show, but I was going to give it to Dave Barron, who has a very brief cameo, but I was going to flip it because the most valuable real life chef is the one who trained these dudes how to look like they knew how to cook. So to shout out Dave Barron. Yeah.
I'm actually going to give it to Courtney Storer then, because I mean, come on.
Sure. Yeah. Culinary
producer.
Director, producer, yeah.
Got to give it to Coco. All right, we've already done the It's All Downhill From Here award. I did it. I won't make you get mean. So let's do most memorable food moment / dish you'd most want to eat.
I'm cheating, and I'm going to say I would want to eat the entire Friends and Family meal from the season 2 finale. If that's too unfair, I think, look, the cola braised ribs is like the sort of, you know, the low hanging fruit. I actually am going to go with Marcus's dessert, his Copenhagen dessert special, also which is part of the Friends and Family meal, which just looked like kind of really crazy. It's the dish that Carmi has a bite of and then like looks at Marcus and he goes, "This is the one." So yeah, I'd want to try that.
I like that. To me, it's the spaghetti. Still the spaghetti from season 1.
Yeah.
The reason is this. What's so special about the spaghetti? Yeah, I need the money. I got car payments now. I need the money. No, I actually just wonder what is so good about this fucking spaghetti, because I saw the way he was making it and I was like, this looks like regular spaghetti. But if everybody's going crazy for it and it's these people going crazy for it, I still want to try it. Okay, this one's going to be there's a lot of contenders for this next one. Biggest cringe moment.
The biggest there are a lot of these, unfortunately. It's the haunts. It's the whole haunt thing. It's the cringiest. It's like, and you like kind of package in the overuse of the facts and just the repetition and literally like the, beating it to death and it not being funny when they're trying to make it funny. Nothing's worse than people trying to be funny and it's not funny. That makes
It's true, actually. It's bomb. It's bombing. To me, I'm actually going to give it to the everybody getting under the table at Richie's ex-wife's wedding moment.
Oh my God, great one. Great one.
That
was the perfect encapsulation we talked about it at the time. A perfect encapsulation of like when it's Claire, Carmi, and the daughter, and maybe I can't remember. I think it was like them three. Maybe Richie was down there. When it's them, the small group are like, oh my God, that's perfect. And then everyone else starts coming in, and I'm like, this is a metaphor for everything the show is that's going wrong right now in season 4. Why is everyone here? Not everyone needs to be here. It doesn't feel like a moment.
And how big is this goddamn table? There's just like there's so much. Last one I had here.
Skip this one.
Okay. This one is actually a shoo-in for me. It was smallest dick energy, and I added / biggest cuck. It's Adam Shapiro. Like, never forget Adam Shapiro's energy.
The energy of his character. Yeah. I mean, that's like the point of his character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he nailed it. All right, let's end on a chef's kiss, big miss, rapid fire, okay? And actually, why don't you ask me? Because you wrote these down.
All right, chef's kiss, big miss. Okay, sorry. Claire, as played by Molly Gordon, her character entire storyline. Chef's kiss, big miss.
Big miss. Huge miss. Horrific miss.
Yeah.
Because she was basically just a prop dummy for Carmi's problems, basically. She had very little of her own going on, and it was a shame to utilize Molly Gordon that way. So I'm giving it a big miss.
There were some good moments in season 4, I thought. I liked her in season 2. But yeah, it's notable that they just were like, forget about her. She's never here. Season 5, Claire who?
Yeah. All right, next one.
I'll give it. Chef's kiss, big miss. Being an architect.
I mean, chef's kiss for society, huge miss for Carmi. I agree with you. He's going to quit after like 3 weeks.
When he did his monologue, his show-ending monologue in the interview to become an architect intern, which is like a big rambling thing, but in it, he kind of recognizes that the service that they had like the night before, right? This was like, this last service, Carmi's last service, he was actually having... Doesn't he say like I was having like the best time or something? Like he kind of I think that him like he fell back in love with the restaurant. Like my story is gonna be he had that last service. He opened his heart to leaving, but it's one of those things where it's like you love her when you can let her leave, but because you're letting her leave, she'll like come back or whatever, something like that. And I think he's back in the kitchen. He's with these guys.
Yeah, it was also like the way you're talking about this. You clearly love this, man. Like it's not.
Yeah. The lady was like, why are you here?
Yeah.
But was that kind of the point? This was yours, but I'm still going to ask you.
So I'll ask you this one. I'll ask you this one. The bear holding the same number of Michelin stars as Cato or Vespertine.
Yeah, look, I struggle to believe. It looks like a 1-star at best. It looks like a 1-star. Yeah. Shows about restaurants. Chef's kiss, big miss.
I think I'm going to have to go Chef's kiss because honestly, I didn't know that it was possible before this. What did we have before this? We had like Burnt, we had Chef, the movie, and there wasn't a lot saying that this could be a successful concept. The fact that they showed that this can work in the right hands, to me means it's a chef's kiss. Obviously, we talked about the fumbling, but there's a nugget of something magical here, and for that, I'll say chef's kiss.
I think as I'm reflecting on it, to the earlier question you asked, I do think, I'm going to take back what I said earlier. I still think the show was great for restaurants and restaurants representation in media. I do think it's going to be a minute before we see another restaurant show because of the shadow this will cast over like the expectation it sets.
Yeah, I can see that.
The last one doesn't really make sense, but I wrote down Chef's Kiss Big Miss, what Chris Storer does next. I guess I mean that in like how much are you looking forward to it?
I'm going to say, I don't know, man. I'm going to say Big Miss. He's gonna have to earn his way back with me personally. Like I just feel very disillusioned by the treatment of this show. Again, because I think it was such a special thing that was just handled a little bit poorly. So to me, I'll be excited when I see his name, and I'll be interested to see what's coming next. But I'll go in with skepticism. Yeah,
I will say so you didn't watch Game of Thrones, but the last season and a half of Game of Thrones was so bad that like I was like, fuck, I'd quit. I hate this the whole world, the whole idea. Now they have like 2 other spin-off shows, which I think are actually quite big. And I'm just like, I can't be bothered. That was so putrid that I just don't care about this. That's not how I feel towards Chris Storer's work because he swooped up and saved it in this season. Yeah. And also he has a really interesting, there's a little bear mafia out there, I think, of like actors and creators and writers. They seemed like buddies. like, chefs they know, actors they like, and all that stuff. And I think that little mafia might be able to create, if they work together again, something interesting.
Yeah, look, and again, maybe if he does a movie and it doesn't have to be 5 seasons and there's that mafia at play, Hiro Murai is involved as a producer or something, count me in.
Dude, like almost everything Hiro touches turns to gold. Did you watch Widow's Bay?
No, worth it?
You would, I think, like it. It's very, very funny, and also has like cool, like horror-y elements. And you like horror, right?
Love
like,
horror.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting show. It's an interesting show. You'd like it. I think Hiro directs a lot of the episodes, or a good handful of the episodes, or something.
Sick. I'm in. Did you want to end with a shitty Yelp review?
No, I think we've kind of covered it. I like what my shitty Yelp review would be like getting my hopes up. Expectations versus reality. It will just never, I can't say it enough. It will never stop hurting how much of a letdown season 3 and frankly 4 were following the high of season 2. And to know, as you alluded to know that the perfect 3-season show was out there. Yeah, right there.
It's a what could have been. Well, Father Sal, I want to thank you because we've really milked The Bear for all it's worth in its 5 seasons. So honestly, we should probably say thank you to Chris Storer and the entire Chris Storer Mafia and The Bear and all the actors in it, because I mean, we have got our money's worth 100%.
I mean, more, dude. The number of reaction videos I watch with The Bear, man, you have no idea. No idea.
I don't want to know. Father Sal, thanks for joining us. We'll be back. I think the next Couch Potatoes we're going to do is probably around the movie Tony. So look out for that too.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. All right. See you, bro.
See you later.